jump on the hot seat. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So by the end of this video, we're gonna discover, I guess, a little bit more about me, big collectibles. What am I all about? I guess, you know, I mean, you guys pretty much know everything about me, pretty much, but maybe there's something I could surprise you with. I don't know. I could juggle or something, you know. Yeah. So, all right. So going to Discord, we chop it up, talk all things collectible related, sport cards and everything. Thanks to John G. We're gonna go ahead and have a giveaway. I don't want to ruin it, but that's gonna hopefully happen here soon. And if you like free stuff, subscribe and join the Discord, because in the Discord, we always that's where I'm gonna go ahead and probably ask you to answer the question. So, and then this Friday is probably gonna be the Walt Disney Big Collectibles NFT. I'm gonna probably give one away this Friday, you know, if everything lines up right. So that's my intro, man. So I hand it off to you guys. We didn't even, by the way, this is completely unrehearsed. I have no idea, like, what, you know, what's gonna happen. I don't even know, you know, I have a general idea from the other interviews what we're going to ask, but let's see where we're going with this.
We'll see where it goes, man. I mean, I'm going to ask your infamous question. Where did your parents grow up?
Oh,
trying to get the Joe mannerisms. You'd be like,
oh, man. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, I almost forgot. I figured since, you know,
we don't know. Right. Let's go.
The fire card of the day is gonna be a Joe DiMaggio autograph card. This right here is Beckett, grade 9. It's I figured, you know, just
very beautiful.
I had to go with a Yankee. So that's today's hotness card of the day. So okay. So my parents, my father was born in Spanish Harlem. As a matter of fact,
parents is easy. You be hitting us with grandparents. Parents is too easy. Grandparents.
Okay. Grandparents.
Now you get to see how hard these are.
Man, I'm like, whoa. Okay, grandparents. Man. Okay. By the way, I want to interview my mom and my dad separately. They're down to do it. Hopefully in the next week or two, we're gonna have them on the hot seat too. So I hope I'm right, because when I interview them, they're probably gonna correct me if I'm wrong. So on my mom's side, they were both born in Puerto Rico, and then on my dad's side, oh man, okay, I remember my grandfather was born in Puerto Rico, but my grandmother, my father's mother, was born in Dominican Republic. So she's Dominican. Wow. Yeah, I'm not full Puerto Rican.
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't even know until she passed away. I didn't even know. And then my father had her birth certificate, and I was like, it came up, and I was like, wait, what? But what is that? And he was like, yeah. She's Dominican. I was like, oh, wow. Damn. And yeah, so that's something I didn't know until maybe 10 years ago.
That's cool. That's cooler.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, it's a crazy story. Right. And then both my parents. No, I'm sorry. My mom was born in Puerto Rico, in a small town called Guayama. I don't know what towns my grandparents were born in. I have no idea. And my father was born in Spanish Harlem. The only thing, going back to my grandparents, the only thing I know was that they, on my father's side, they worked sugarcane fields, and that's how they made a living. They worked on sugarcane fields.
That was one of the main things coming out of the islands, you know what I'm saying? They didn't really have too much exports that were acceptable.
Nah, man, it was just that. It was
like Haiti. Haiti could only do the sugar cane too.
Yep. So, and then on my mom's side, her father worked at a school. I don't know what capacity. I know he wasn't a teacher, but he worked at a school. I'm not sure doing what. That's all I know. And then that's it, man. That's my lineage. That's as far as I know.
And then what brings us to you? Where did you grow up, and where do you currently live now?
Okay. Okay, so my parents met in the Bronx. My father was in Manhattan growing up, and when he turned 17, 18, he left Spanish Harlem, which is in Manhattan, and went to the Bronx. And he got an apartment out there. And then my mom, when she was 18, she left Puerto Rico, and she came out here to the Bronx, and she was living with her cousin. And she had a daughter.
So this is what, 1970s Bronx?
Yeah, this is
rough
actually
area.
60, 1960,
Yeah.
1970 actually. On the dot, 1970 is when my sister was born. So, and this was with her first marriage. So she came here like a year or two before that. So she came in the late 60s.
Okay.
So she came, and then she went to the, she was in the Bronx. She had my sister, and then what was that? Like in the 1976, they met at a club in the Bronx.
Wow.
And so they met at a club, and they exchanged numbers, and then man, I was born like 2 years later or something like that, or a year later. I don't even know. So and then and that was it. Oh yeah, and so where I live now. Okay, so I lived in the Bronx, and then I went to Queens. So I say I grew up in Queens because I spent my high school years in Queens. I went to Thomas Edison, and in my senior year, I moved, or my parents moved, and we went to Long Island. We went to Franklin Square, which is right next to Hempstead. I never say Franklin Square because nobody knows Franklin Square.
Just say Hempstead.
I say Hempstead. So I say Hempstead. So I moved to Hempstead, and I was able to finish my senior year there out of Franklin Square. I'm sorry, H. Frank Carey in Franklin Square. Graduated, and then I moved back to Queens briefly by myself. But in between, I moved to Philly. Like after that, I went to Philly for a year. I went to West Palm Beach for a year. I went to Tampa. I moved that was it. I was spending a lot of time in different places. And then ultimately I came back. I don't remember, man, what year, but when I came back, I moved to Queens one last time, and then I came to Florida. I came to Florida 2006, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I went to Orlando first, then I went to Fort Lauderdale, and I met Marty, and then I came back to Orlando.
In Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
One thing I gotta say, I don't know how many viewers are really gonna care about this information, but it's good to have documented for your kids, because the vagueness that you have, the next generations won't have that with this recording.
That's true. That's true. And that's why I want to interview my parents. Great
Exactly.
Great point.
Because once you get it out the horse's mouth, it's as close to...
Listen, let me tell you something, Joe. You know what I would do to have video of me interviewing my father?
Word.
Like, exactly. You know what I would do? Whatever. If I had 3 wishes, one of them would be that.
Word.
That's how much that it's very nice. I'm
gonna lock him in. I keep telling him. I saw him this past weekend, and I said, look, we got to do this. And then he was like, first your mom. So I'm like, all right. So
Ladies
I'm
first.
gonna have to lock it in next week for sure. I'm gonna have them back-to-back nights.
That's awesome.
So let's start getting into it, man. Let's start getting into it. What were some of the first things you started collecting when you were a kid? Like what were you drawn to? Stuff like that.
Man. The first, I mean, I was always a collector as far back as I can remember. I remember probably the first thing that I actually collected was GI Joes, the little 3.5-inch tall GI Joes.
Yes, me too.
Man, them things were it was a wrap. I was addicted to it. And
how old were you when those were out?
What happened?
How old were you when those were kind of out? Because I guess the cartoon popped up in what, like 85, 84?
Yeah, I was in elementary school.
Right, so you're like, what,
it was huge, whole late 80s.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember if they were already out when I found out about them or when they came out. I don't remember, but I remember seeing the cartoon and being like, "Yo, this is crazy! This is amazing!" You know, the whole shooting and jets,
the lasers. It wasn't even bullets; it was lasers.
Lasers. It was lasers, man. So I loved it. I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And so I remember going and asking my parents to buy me GI Joes. So I had accumulated a small little army. You know, I can't remember. It was probably, if I had to guess, something like 7 different GI Joes. You know,
right.
And I'm like, yo, these 7 GI Joes, I'm killing it in the room, like bam, 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 bam.
Exactly.
Just wilding out. Bro, I remember they got me the first jet, like
the Blackbird.
I still have it. It was a gray
the
Joe.
Gray jet, not the Blackbird, the GI Joe one, their jet.
Right, the GI Joe one.
It was F-14 or F-18 or whatever.
That's it. I still have it. And then, a matter of fact, after speaking of that, the black one, the big black one that
that's the Blackbird, and that came with Baroness. Baroness, yeah.
So I had that one. I kept that one, and the kids destroyed it. I ended up having to just throw it out because it was like dangerous, sharp.
It starts shipping up, and then it gets sharp edges, yo.
That's exactly what happened. So I had to retire it. I still have the small one. So anyway.
Right. That was so dope. I had the little plane that flew on it. That was so sick.
Yes. Yo, that thing is crazy. You know, it was a mistake. I let the kids play with it, and that was it. It was a wrap.
Quick question, sidebar. Eddie, you too? Just wondering, did any of you guys have Thundercats when you were growing up?
Yeah, I did.
You know, I didn't. I like the Thundercats. Don't get me wrong. I love Thundercats.
Eddie, tell me they wasn't ill, man. They was dope, man.
Yeah, they were.
They was dope.
You know what? I didn't like to play with them. They were to me like collectible.
Right. Because they didn't do much like the arms.
Like my wrestling and stuff like that. I kill those, but those I kept nice.
Yeah. Did you have any of those, Joe? Like the big wrestling figures with the ring and all of that crazy?
No, I didn't have the wrestling figures, but a good friend of mine, like my best friend growing up, he had a bunch of them. So it was kind of like, you know what? I'll bring the Joes. You got the wrestling joints. We're good.
Yeah, that's an all-day extravaganza.
Oh man, yeah, man. We was just wilding out with those things, man.
Bro, I lived with my grandmother. My grandmother would go crazy. She'd beat me with the wooden spoon. I would sit underneath the kitchen table every day, all day long, and you would just hear psh, 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 all day. Go crazy and have a fit.
Bro, it's something about us playing like that, and it was like, you're physically looking at your hands and you see the figures, but it was almost like a mirage where it was like you were seeing a movie or a cartoon yourself. Like I'm just it helped our imaginations, man. Like I can't imagine growing up and only playing video games, like no basketball, no skateboarding, nothing, just video games, and that's it. Like, and you see what type of people our generation produced, man. We had some of the most creative people in a generation, like, you know.
Bro, yeah, man. I didn't have any tablet or you know, like I look at my kids now and they have meltdowns. They can't handle, you know, 5 minutes alone on the car ride without a tablet. And I'm like, yo, that didn't even exist. Like me having you crazy. Like I've told
I wouldn't even want it. I wouldn't even. It would collect dust.
The tablet was you looking out the damn window. That was your tablet.
Yeah, man. It was crazy.
Bro, I knew how to get to DC from New York by the time I was 10 years old, just because we used to drive there like 2 or 3 times a year, and I had nothing to do but look out the damn window.
Exactly.
Eventually, I realized, okay, get on the highway and go this way, and don't get off till you hit this. Like,
that's right.
By the time I started driving, I knew how to drive out of state easily, you know. And all these, you know, what bugs me out is how there's all these people who they get behind the wheel and they can't move unless they got a GPS.
Yep, right. They don't know northeast, southwest, nothing.
I said, wow, bro, I came from the era of maps. Yo asked me in the car with a big ass fold out. You gotta have pen marks on it, draw your route.
Yeah, hell yeah. I remember that. I remember it was a big deal when the software came out. You could get the mapping software.
The TomTom.
You know what I'm saying? And you put in your disc and you put in your address of where you're going, and it mapped it out for you. You printed it out.
Oh, MapQuest. MapQuest, yes.
MapQuest.
That was the shit. Yo, I used to take them 2 pieces of paper. You couldn't stop me, bro. I'm going anywhere now.
Yeah, bro, because I used to have books of the different maps because I had jobs that I had to drive everywhere. Connecticut, the boroughs, the this, the that, whatever. So I had a book for everywhere. When that thing came out, I was like, yo, this is a wrap. They just made my life easy.
Right.
And look at it now.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, okay, so going back to the original question, what was the first thing that I was collecting?
Yes.
Suzerpi in the chat, what's the deal? How you doing? Everybody in the chat, real talk. What's up? What's up? The guys are interviewing me, so we're talking about what was my first collectible that I started collecting. I said GI Joes, and you know, I didn't have Thundercats, but I liked, you know, Thundercats, don't get me wrong, Pantro and Chitara. I can't remember everyone else. I watched the cartoon though.
Yeah.
But so going back with the GI Joes, I remember I had my little group of GI Joes, and then my mom, she was cool with this lady that I'll never forget. She lived half a block off of 179th and Hillside, and for whatever reason, man, her name is escaping me right now, but for whatever reason, she went over there to hang out. She had an older son, right? He was older than me by maybe 5 years, maybe a little more. So I remember I was there just chilling, kind of, you know how it is. You're just bored, you know, no tablet, you know? So I remember I was sitting on the sofa, just trying to, you know, be chilling. And then he came over and he was like, yo, you bored? I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm bored. I'm chilling, you know? And so he's like, yo, and he busted out this huge box of GI Joes. I kid you not, man. That thing must have been, I am not exaggerating you, 50 GI Joes or more, bro. I mean, it was like, bro.
Yeah, he probably had doubles and all that. You know what I'm saying?
He had several doubles of certain characters and all that, certain figures. He brings the box and I start playing with them. I'm like, yo, and this is my thing. This is my thing, GI Joes. I'm having an all-out extravaganza war in this lady's living room, right? and he wasn't like participating. He just left them with me and bounced, right? Wow. Walked away. I'm like, yeah, man, I got that.
Yeah, you had a meltdown.
Bro, he comes back at the end, you know, and we're getting ready to go. I pack everything up, and he comes over and he was like, "You like them?" I'm like, "Yo, man, do I like them, man? I just spent an hour and a half. I'm sweating. Look at me, man. I love this thing, man." Bro, he blessed me. He said, "I don't even play with those things anymore. You can have them."
Wow.
He gave me the illest GI Joe collection. I am not exaggerating you. It was like, so
that was always the best way to come up when we was young, was to find like someone a little older that was ready to let them go. You know what I'm saying?
Or that
You would
rich
go-
friend that has everything and
Right.
and more.
Right.
And they want to be your friend so bad that they just give you whatever you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Yo, the Gale in the buildings in the chat. What up, the Gale?
Well,
Shout out
what
to
it
Gail,
do?
bro.
So that was it. That was the first thing I started collecting. I would say as a kid.
Which flows right into the next question. You started collecting GI Joes preferably because of the cartoon and watching it. So what were some of the other cartoons that you enjoyed watching?
Oh man, I love Transformers. Transformers was really big. Thundercats, Voltron. I was crazy for Voltron. He-Man.
He-Man was good.
He-Man. And those were my top, man. G.I. Joe, Voltron, Transformers. Those were probably my top 3 cartoons. Like, you know, my mom would drop me off at the neighborhood babysitter, and it was just a house that was close to the school that all the, you know, kids would whatever, you know. And so I would go there. It was, I don't even know what time it is. I know it was dumb early. And boom, G.I. Joe time. I know that for a fact that every morning early before school at that lady's house, I was watching G.I. Joe. I looked forward to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it right there, man.
Cool. What about some video games? Because I know we've spoken about Northern Boulevard.
Oh man, video games, bro. Oh man, that was crazy because my I'm not gonna front. My dad, he would hook me up with video games, you know. So I definitely had more than the average kid in video games. And then my neighbor, literally my next door neighbor, he had like a collection that was just as good as mine, maybe even better, right? So when we linked up, and because we made sure we never got the same game.
Which system was
Nintendo.
Gotta be Nintendo.
Nintendo. Okay. Well, okay, so let me start off. And my sister, I want to interview her too. I already told her. So my sister, she had the Atari, you know, so she would go play Atari. Bro, you remember those big bookshelves with the encyclopedia?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it seemed like everybody had one. So off to the side of it, in the same kind of bookshelf, there was a section just big enough for a little TV, you know, and that's the Atari.
What the hell? What were those encyclopedias called?
Britannica?
Yeah, Encyclopedia Britannica, but there was also another one before Britannica.
Yeah, that's the one I had actually, because I didn't have the Britannica. I had the other one. They used to advertise it on TV and everything.
It was red. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I had the blue one. It's the different one.
Oh, okay. The one we had was red. That's all I remember. It was red.
It'll come to me.
So you know, my video game career started there. You know, whenever she wasn't playing, I was able to play. I liked Asteroid Defender. What was it called? Safari? The guy that would, like Tarzan, he would have to
Pitfall.
That's it.
That's my game, bro. Frogger.
Yeah, real good game.
You got Frogger on there.
Yep.
So she had Atari 2600, it sounds like.
She had Mad. There was a game called Mad, I remember. But I mean, yeah, she had all that. So we would rock on that Pac-Man. Yup. Yes, yeah, man. So that's where it started. But it was like I played it, but I wasn't addicted to it. You know what I mean? And so when Nintendo came, I'll never forget. You know, we got the Nintendo. We break it out from the box, break out the gun, Duck Hunt, and all that, and that was it. It was a wrap. Like
Atari caught dust real quick.
Man, it was crazy, and that was it.
Joystick thing. Get this out of here, man. Give me this controller. Up, down, left, right. B. What you talking about? Can't do that over there. Give me Contra, man. Give me Contra right now, man.
Yo, for
Contra
real.
was a big
Up,
game.
down, left, right, select, start, bro.
John G said burger time. Wow, he took it back. John G.
That was also a big game, yeah.
Bro, it's Paperboy with Nintendo.
That was the game.
Man, I like that game. Zelda, Punch Out.
Yes.
You know, these games were, I mean, and that was it. I was like addicted to these games, addicted.
What about Metroid?
Metroid was good. I liked Shinobi, Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, that was my shit. That was on Sega though. That was my shit.
Oh, right. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Got your Alter piece on. You got your Master System. I know you caught the Master System, bro. I know. He was like Altered Beast. He got open, bro.
Oh,
yo, I never
man.
forget, man. I wanted a Master System so bad, bro. And my parents really didn't celebrate Christmas like that. Like they only did it when I was young, just so it's like you're a kid, you experience it. By the time Sega came out, it was kind of at that age where it's like, you know, they wasn't trying to do it. Bro, I'll never forget. I wanted it so bad that the night before Christmas, like, you know, you go to sleep, bro, I had a dream that I woke up and it was Christmas and I went and opened it, started playing it and everything. And then I woke up, I was like, no. Bro, I went out my room and it was really there. I was like, oh,
what?
That was the craziest thing ever in my life, bro. I was telling my parents, like, yo, I just dreamt of this. Like, and they're just sitting here like, yeah. Whatever, man. Go play a game, man. Like, when you turn that on and you heard Altered Beast, yo, you was like,
that voice. I'll never forget the first time I saw Altered Beast. I was at my friend's house and he was playing it. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And how he would change. He would say like, you turn into that beast.
The only thing, man, his body got big, but his head stayed the same size, bro.
Yep.
What's up with that, man? These are crazy graphics.
Oh my God! We have to watch, or I watched it. 8-Bit Christmas. I watched it with the kids. You got to watch 8-Bit Christmas. It's about that Christmas, a kid wanting Nintendo and all the struggles that he goes through to get a Nintendo. A matter of fact, the character, because he's reflecting, he's talking about his youth. Him as an adult is Doogie Howser. I don't know his name, but the Doogie Howser actor,
Neil Patrick Harris, right?
That cat.
He's in the Matrix. Wow.
Yes.
That's kind of deep.
So 8-Bit Christmas, check it out. So yeah, man. So video games were huge, man. Mad Max. I was next level with my video games. Mad Max, I remember it was just like the map was like in Zelda. It was just a little dot.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Bro,
I made a map. Like I made a square. Like I would take, okay, that's what this is. So I would go and draw what was on that. Ooh. And I made a map of all the papers. Wow. And so that now people come over and we play the game and we had a map. Like, yo.
That's sick.
So,
that's what you could have kind of do with like a game like Metroid, because it had levels. You go up in the air and had to shoot the wall, and they're like, oh, it's an opening there. And then you find a whole nother area and then you get some sick armor, you know what I'm saying? But man, remember those books that used to come out? You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while.
Power?
Yeah, sometimes they would put maps in there and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like the crazy Marios and crazy Zeldas, like, yes, I got a map now. All that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yo, you're gonna laugh. In Nintendo Power, there was a hotline you could call.
Yes.
Yep, the Nintendo hotline.
Yep. I called that hotline. I called the hotline, man.
My mom was like, if you call that number, I'm going to beat your ass. That shit said like 10 cents a minute or something crazy. She was like, boy, call that number.
Bro, it was expensive. Yep. And, man, one time, because my dad had a butt set that I can tap into any line and make the call. Nice. And one time I went into a theater room. I'm a kid. He took me into Manhattan for whatever reason, for work. He had to go and do some stuff for work. And he was like, yo, just come. I'm like, all right. So boom, I grab his butt set. And I already knew, I've been around this stuff. I tap into a line. I hit that 1-800, boom. And there was, I always had a few questions I needed to ask. I hit him up. Bang. Yo.
That's sick, man.
You just brought up a memory that was buried. But yeah,
that is sick.
Yeah.
That is funny. I tapped somebody's line to call 1-800 whatever Nintendo Power, bro.
I don't know if it was Nintendo Power Books, but I remember there was another book we used to get, right? And it used to have games in the back, and it had prices and everything, and it had like used or new, but everything would come from like Japan, and it was like COD or something weird. So it was like risky, you know what I'm saying? But it was always in the back of the book. It was like you could order these games. It was weird, bro. I was like, oh man.
Man, if you have those Japanese games now, they're
Man,
worth so much money.
so many Japanese versions in Nintendo
Yeah,
games, bro.
they're worth big money.
I wish I would have kept my cartridges, man, for sure.
Yeah.
You remember like when you go to a new friend's house or something, it was like you knew his level of prestige based on his Nintendo stack. When you walked in and looked on his dresser, and you seen that grade them games stacked up, you was like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Right,
we're about to get into something.
Yeah. All right. I see.
I got a new best friend. I'm gonna be here all the time.
Right.
Oh my god.
As a matter of fact, let me call my people. I'm gonna sleep over tonight.
Right.
Oh my god. By the way, everybody that's watching, please drop a question. The guys are interviewing me. If you want them to ask anything in particular, go ahead and drop a question. If you like free stuff, follow. And also, there's once this is uploaded, there'll be a link for the Discord, free Discord. Come and join, and we talk all things collectibles, and we talk about a bunch of different things. So, all right. So those were the games I liked when I was a kid.
Eddie or me?
You go ahead.
My question was, this is an obvious one, is do you still own any of your old toys?
Yes.
Bro, yes.
Do I?
Yes. I have, put it to you like this. I gave the kids a bunch of G.I. Joes, my old school ones, right? I kept a book bag pretty much full to the top of G.I. Joes. And those are mine, like, you can't touch these.
Right.
Yeah.
And I gave them, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I must have given them 20, 25 Joes. And so I have G.I. Joes, I have Voltron, I have Optimus Prime, I have old Hess trucks.
Yeah.
I have old Hess trucks.
Play with that. Somebody's head get bust open.
Yo, for real, man.
It's like giving them a bunch of black lions. Somebody gonna die.
So yeah, man, I definitely, I have a lot of the toys that I had growing up. Not all of them made it, man. Not all of them made it, but yes, I do, man. I have a Darth Vader, a 1970, I forget, 77, I think. Darth Vader figure. Yeah.
You know what's interesting is there's a Boba Fett that came out that year that if you have the original with like the projectile that actually shoots out of his backpack, it's worth like mad bread. And it was people like when the whole card thing and Pokemon, all the collecting stuff started blowing up last year. That was one of many things that was like, if you go on Macari, you could catch someone slipping because they just got it up there as a regular toy, not realizing like, yo, this is the one where the rocket shoots out his back. So I remember going on there and I seen one just had sold for like $5, dude. No exaggeration. It was horrible. Like,
oh my God. Yeah, I definitely need to go ahead and see what's up with that because I don't have that.
Yeah, that's an ill collectible to have, bro.
Yeah, man.
Because I remember the commercial and everything. Like, press a little thing on his back. It was like, rocket came out. Like, oh, it's Boba Fett, bro.
I mean, bro, I really like him. He's one of my favorite, Star Wars characters.
Have you seen the new show?
I saw the first episode, man. Okay. I mean, I played it. Let me say, I played it, and in between separating fist fights, I got to see. But I don't want to give any spoilers. But yes, I got to see, him go against that thing, that monster, and then he hemmed him up with the chain.
That was
Yeah,
sick.
I don't want to give just in case I don't want to give any spoilers, but yes, I did play it. I tried to watch as much as I could while it was playing on the TV. But yes, it looks dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I love my figures, man. The old school toys, man. Those old school toys are dope. You know, there was one that you guys remember the show called V? Just straight up V.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
that's my show, bro. Don't play around, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're about to talk about some V right now.
That's my show. Do not play, bro.
Bro, my father, he's like, Joey, they call me, my real name's Jose, but my mother calls me Joey because my father's name is, they call him Joe. So they call me Joey, right? Anyway, so for whatever reason, I don't even know how that happened because my father's real name is Jose too. So I don't even know how that history happened. Maybe that's a good question for him. So he's like, look, Joey.
Write that down.
I know, I gotta write it down. How the hell they start calling you Joe?
Right.
So I'm like, he's like, you need to watch this show. Right?
That's how my father was.
Yeah, he knew.
Our fathers probably hung out together, and then we would have grown up together for the same nutty stuff anyway, even though we ain't grown up together.
Absolutely. And he's like, you gotta watch this. And I'm like, what is it called, Dad? It's V. V. What? V. Like Veve. And he's like, yo, V. You gotta just don't worry about the name. It's a letter, man. Just watch the stupid thing, all right?
Just like my father, son. He sounds just like him. Like he ain't gonna tell you. He gonna tell you, but he ain't gonna tell you.
Right.
Like, what is this?
And bro, I'm like, oh my God. We got aliens that look like humans. They trying to eat rats and all this. I'm like, oh my God, what am I watching?
Wait, dude was hiding up in the vent and he was looking. And it didn't start.
He saw him eat the thing. He saw him eat and the skin, dude, lizards.
Yo, that was way ahead. Even the graphics was crazy, bro. The graphics was crazy on that show.
But back in the days,
bro, John G is talking about Roddy Piper was the man. You know what movie he's talking about? You know what movie he's talking about? Nah, They Live. That's my other favorite movie. That's I actually have a song coming out that's based on the concept of They Live. So I think a lot of people are gonna enjoy that when I drop that.
That's what's up. That's what's up,
Great.
man.
Great.
But yeah, bro, the V was crazy. I love that show. And look, I grew up going to church. They don't call it church, but we're just gonna call it church because that's what everybody knows. All the time, like, you know, several times during the week. And the night that V played, it was on a church night, but I was lucky. It was on a night that they only had a 1 hour session or whatever.
Communication.
Yes, a 1 hour meeting or whatever, right? So, and I lucked out because it was just a 1 block from my house. Because it was like a Bible study, so it was at somebody's house. Yo, it was like, amen.
Yeah.
Gone. Run into the house. This is before DVRs, you know?
Exactly. And yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yo, I was like,
missed it. If you missed it, your ass missed it.
Yeah,
that was
man. So, bro, it's so funny.
You had to check the TV guide. Like, when does this come on again? When does it come on?
Yo, I remember one time running because I'm not even exaggerating. Yo, I would straight up run full. I mean, as fast as I could. And one time I fell and I landed on my hip and I graded like my hip. And yo, I had the illest scar on my hip for years from that. It was crazy. But anyway, didn't V have a TV series also after the movie?
No, there was no. It was actually the other way around. It was a TV series, and then they tried to make a movie, but it bombed.
Yes, they actually redid the V show.
Yeah,
John G.
More recent, like 5-10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Too.
Yeah, it only lasted a season and a half, and they cut it halfway through the second season.
Yep.
So, but yeah, man, the original. So, okay. So the reason why I brought that up is because you were asking me about toys, right?
Right.
If I could bring back a toy, it would be, there was this, I don't know if you remember, but the vehicles, there was a V van, like a
Yes.
gray van, like an Astro van.
I was about to say it was the 18 van. It was the same 18 van, but
it was like a van. It was a van, right?
Yep.
I couldn't remember exactly what it is.
It's the Astro. Yep.
Okay, so Bong, I had a V van toy, and bro, the wars I had with that van were epic, bro.
How many Joes could you fit in there?
Not too many Joes. Not too many Joes. I remember it wasn't so big, you know,
right.
but it was, you know, it was smaller than a GI, like a little bit smaller than a GI Joe vehicle. But
right.
Man, I'm telling you, that was just, it was crazy. It was crazy. If I could bring back one toy, it would be either be that or my Air Raiders spaceship, which I don't think anybody knows about.
He said the Air Raiders.
Yeah, there was a cartoon that lasted probably one episode, and I was their only fan, I think. And I wanted the Air Raider spaceship, and I thought it was so dope because you press the button on it, and it shot air through the top, and it came with a little ball, like a little light foam ball, and it would just hover like 2 inches above the ship.
Right.
And I was like, yo, this is amazing.
Anybody remember, speaking of obscure cartoons, how about one called Mask?
Mask?
And it was
I don't know Mask.
It was basically like a combination of G.I. Joes with a lot of vehicles. So they called it Mask because the vehicles would kind of transform. So it was like a smash of everything. It was Transformers. It was, you know, the espionage of G.I. Joe because they were high tech. Like, it was crazy. And then the toy line was dope, bro. That's something you should look up on YouTube. Mask, bro. Like,
Mask. All right, I'm gonna look that up. Yeah. So yeah, man, that was it. Those are the toys, cartoons, all that I enjoyed growing up.
Okay.
So what was your first memorable collectible?
That's the Dan Marino, Joe Montana rookie cards.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, I still remember picking them up on Hempstead Turnpike across from Belmont Racetrack. I don't know if you guys were over there back, you know, whatever year it was, but there was a card shop that I used to go to. And that was probably, I'm pretty sure I got it there. Yeah, I got those there. And those were like my first big collectibles.
Wow. And that's deep too, because that was in like real time. You know, it's not like right now going to get one of their cars. Like, this is while they were doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this was a long time ago. Yeah,
they were actually very expensive too back then.
Yeah, honestly, I think that they have depreciated.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Exactly.
I think and
I think it's something to be said with that. Like, that's how I'm honestly viewing a lot of this stuff, bro. Like, unless I perceive a player to be a GOAT, which when you think every 10 years and no matter what sport, there's only 1 or 2 that are playing concurrently. Usually it's 1 or 2 players that just dominate the sport. And so when you look back, there's so many ancillary and accessorized type of players that in that moment you was like, oh, yeah, dude is nice, dude. Like Scottie Pippen, you can't front on Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, all of them. Like, but yet where their cars at today, not where they should be.
Right.
Not at all.
A lot of it is because like half the people invested in collecting weren't even alive or cared back then. A lot of people that's of the age to have cared is dying off, or they already have their stash. Like, a lot of people have already gotten, like, if you want a Jordan card, you probably got it by now. And that's why I think the market is kind of stagnant too. It's like, you know, we just came off a year of getting technically free money here and there. So I feel like a lot of people got what they wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And again, you know, those cards aren't like today either, where you know, like it was a lot of them cards printed too. So it's like, yeah, you know, Barry Sanders rookie, all them cards is great, but it's like, damn, there was a lot printed too. You know,
a hell of a lot.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. I enjoyed watching sports. My father got me into baseball young. Loved watching baseball, and took me to Yankee games. So I was just drawn into sports, and then that just developed or evolved into me watching basketball, which he watched. He watched, but he wasn't like not like baseball. Like baseball, we were going to games, like on the reg. Several times a year, we were going to games, like all
checking the newspaper in the morning, looking at the scores.
Oh, yeah.
Stats.
Well, yeah, and we Yankee talk all day, all that. So basketball was like, oh, yeah, if the Knicks are on, you know, when there's no Yankee game or whatever, you know, like
right, exactly.
You know, okay. So and then football was not on the radar, and then I started watching football, and then he started watching football because I was watching football, and then so. You know, it just that was the whole vibe of the house. So when my collecting of the toys, because I kept my GI Joes and a lot of the Transformers and whatnot. So I was just a collector, just a natural collector. I just, you know, wanted a piece of these memories forever. You know, I wanted to be able to look at them. So that's how I approached the collecting of the sport cards. It was that I never was a pack. Not that I never bought a pack, but I was, you know, always a singles purchaser.
Right.
I would go and, you know, and say, "Oh, I want that one card."
I'll tell you, I wish I would have known you back in the day. I would have saved a lot of money. Man, because now as a freaking adult, I'm sitting here like, no, just buy the damn card you want
and be done with it.
If anything, buy a couple of them because you never know what you're going to get in the mail. And that's about it. And if you got two that's decent, send them off for grading and keep one and flip one and call it a day or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, man.
You know, chasing these packs and these boxes, man, I can't do it, man. It's too trivial. You know, I was even talking to one of my boys the other day about stuff, and it's like, there's so many things. Like we were talking about the DraftKings NFT. And how it's like, you know, you buy the ticket, then you wait for this date for a cube. You get the cube, and now you're playing like a numbers game. I meant to tell you, too, if you go back to the site, there's like 4 new Tom Brady collectibles that were not listed when we looked before. And they're all like 8,000, 12. They're like the super rare ones that obviously they must have either been unlocked and nobody put them up for sale, or they were still stuck in cubes. I don't know, but they were not there before. I hit my boy up. He's like, that's definitely new. But it's only a few of them, so they're like thousands of dollars, bro. I'm like, I'm like, I could have had one of those.
That's crazy.
But, you know, when you break that down, you're like, okay, 12 at minimum, right? You could spend all the way up to like 500, whatever it is for Sapphire, Signature one. Okay, now you got to pay $60 again for the cube. Now you unlock it, and what if, you know,